Welcome to the Sacred Birthwork and Business podcast, where sacred birthwork meets soul-aligned business. I'm your host, Anna Lundqvist, a former midwife, now sacred birthworker mentor, business coach, and the founder of Sacred Birth International. My intention with this podcast is to inspire you to follow your birthworker calling and to step fully into your power and purpose and unapologetically claim your place as the feminine leader that you were meant to be in your life and community. Let's reclaim sacred birthwork, let's reclaim sacred business, and let's do it the feminine way. Let's begin. Hi, and welcome back to the Sacred Birthwork and Business podcast. Today, I have another topic that I am so passionate about that I want to share with you, and that is how to do business the feminine way. I'm so passionate about this. I wish that this was just something that we all talked about. It's so needed because truly, most of us, myself included, did not learn how to do business the feminine way. Where is this information out there? I'll tell you, it's in my business course for sure, and I'm gonna bring it here because I think this is so important. Let's face it, most of us birth workers, we're women. 99% of us are women. We are feminine beings, energetically feminine beings. We are so different from men in how we operate in life, how we operate throughout our day, our weeks, our months, our life seasons. We are so different, and I'm here to share with you how you can approach your life, your birth worker calling, and your business from a feminine, cyclic way of being. When I speak about us as women as being feminine beings, I want to really explain what I mean. First and foremost, as women, we are receiving. We are magnetic. We are not meant to go out and chase and push and pull and hustle and grind. No. Our hormones teach us that. If we look at a female's hormones, we flow, our hormonal cycle is over a whole month. We move through the 4 seasons of spring, summer, autumn, and winter throughout our month. We're cyclical beings. We're one with the moon. And not one day is like the other. We are not the same woman, human being every day. Emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, we're just not the same from one day to another. Let's compare this to a man who has a hormonal cycle with having testosterone surge through his body every 2 hours, every day, the whole year. We're so different, but we've been taught to live in this world the same. Us as women, we can do it just as any man kind of attitude. And no, that's why so many women burn out. So if your approach, like I used to have, and like 99% of our population, human population have, is to work like any man or approach business like any man, you're gonna burn out. You're not gonna thrive. It's gonna be more of a struggle. So I'm here to invite you to do it the feminine way, to understand who you are as a cyclic being, both throughout, your month, your year, and the seasons of your life as a woman, which also looks different to a man. So welcome to this episode. I hope that you will find so much inspiration, so much knowledge, and start thinking differently about how you can approach your day-to-day work as a birth worker. So let's first look at us as cyclic beings. as we, as a young woman, start to bleed, start to menstruate, we enter into being a cyclic being. We move through the phases, as I said, of spring, summer, autumn, and winter. And the way I approach this is that I actually plan my business according to my cycle. Now, we're all different how we feel on all levels throughout our cycles. We're so different. So it's going to be unique to you. For me, in my spring and summer, I tend to have more energy. I tend to be able to kind of do different things and have long lists and get a lot of stuff done. I feel more social, more extroverted. This is a perfect time for me, for example, to hold workshops or like live classes where I need to be animated and excited and energetic. And this is a time where I also book in my, if I can, my interviews, my one-on-one clients, and all of this. I focus on this time to be out there in the world. This might also be a time where I create stuff for my social media or like this podcast. I take this time of my month when I have this energy to produce, to do, to be creative. I'm in my feminine flow of creativity, of expression. And especially during our summertime, which is when we ovulate, we tend to have a lot of this. And so for most women, this is a time where we can really produce from just this excess of energy, and we're radiant during this time. So it's also a great time to be out there and put yourself out there and maybe do videos or create social media content because it's authentic, it's true. You're just overflowing with the energy of summer, of spring, of summer, of, that fertile energy. Then when I go into my autumn, I tend to become more introverted. This is the time where I love to do life admin, where I don't really feel that much like I want to express myself. I more want to like look at my little list of maybe answering emails or doing, taxes or that kind of bookkeeping or just catching up on all the little things, the little admin things that during my spring and summer that would bug me. I would not have patience to sit down and do all those things. I would just put it off, put it off. But in my autumn, I like that. I put on my fire, I sit at my computer, and I just putter away at my lists to do. So this is the perfect time for me to be in admin mode. I can also do one-on-one sessions and hold space for people, less so than in my spring and summer, but I still do that. And I love that. And then I move into my winter when I bleed. And I tend to have a couple of days where I'm tired. I'm more in my womb space. I am more dreamy and visionary. And this is a time where I try to schedule absolute time off if I can. Just really resting, just really taking care of myself. And sometimes, of course, in life that you can't do that. You have to show up. So I try to then focus on things that doesn't take too much of my energy and it's not too much of a big output. I try to not schedule live events or too much space holding because that'll take too much of my energy. But again, we move with life. But I try to structure my month like this. I know when I'm about, when I'm gonna be in my different phases. I've practiced this knowledge for years, so it's second nature to me. So I can plan my month, even sometimes further along, right? Knowing this knowledge. So that I try to plan to serve myself first, to fill my feminine cup, to make sure I have this time during my winter time. Oh, I forgot to say. So during that winter time and also a bit of my autumn, it's when I vision. When I really take time to plan things out, maybe I vision the next launch of something or the next project or what I want to birth into this world or birth within my already existing programs and so on and so forth. This is a time where I dream. This is a time where I might enjoy sitting with the weaving and dreaming also of how I show up in the world, maybe on my podcasts or YouTube channel or in social media settings. So this is a time for dreaming and weaving for me, and I think for us women. resting and dreaming and weaving and being the oracle. Really not just in business, but like in life, for your family, for your community. This is a time to be in that. So I schedule that in. I plan that for my feminine business to thrive, for me to have this time off to really replenish. So that's my month. But then as women, we don't only move, of course, as cyclic beings within our month, also in our seasons of our lives, right? So we start out as maidens. And when it comes to business, when we're maidens, we're usually full of energy. We don't have children to take care of. We have just this excess energy of creativity, of maybe studying and learning and growing and expanding as human beings. And when it comes to our business, we have a lot of time and energy to create, to put in the foundations, and to put those extra hours potentially also in towards building our birth business, our dream business, our dream work, passion, calling here in the world. So that's great. And with the knowledge of the cycles, you can really weave within that powerful phase of your life as you are dreaming, weaving, and creating your birth business. And then we have the season of the mother. Less time, right? The season of the mother, especially if you're with really young children, the way you approach business, the way you approach birth work looks very different, right? This might be a time where you, for a year or 2 years or however long, you step away fully from in-person work because you want to be with your babies and your small children, potentially at home. And so this is a perfect time to have a hybrid birth business, right? Where you can have online presence. Maybe you have online offerings, maybe even an online course, a childbirth education course, or whatever it is that you feel like where your genius zone is, where your thing in the world is about. When you create that, that can bring you passive income as you are with your babies. This is a perfect time to definitely have a hybrid one. Maybe during a few years you're fully mama and online, maybe. For some, they might those early years still want to take on some clients in real life. They might still want to hold ceremonies or hold education, or maybe even stay in the birth portal, having a few clients in the birth portal every now and again. Every one of us is so different of our capacity, our desires, who we are. And this is the beauty of following your feminine flow and cycles and intuition to weave a birth business that you love. I mean, one of the things I absolutely love about being my own boss, self-employed, businesswoman within my own birth business is that I decide. It's totally up to me. I decide when to work, how much to work, when not to work. It's freaking fabulous. And then as, children grow up, life changes again. Teenagers, maybe you want to move back into more being in the birth portal. How you work shifts and changes throughout you as a woman's life, your seasons of your life. And then you step into Maga, into that menopausal space before you get into that wise crone stage. That time where you're still working, you're still expressing, you're still being in the world, you're still creating, you're being the birth worker in your community. This is also going to look different. For some Magas, that means also that there's less space and time to actually spend in the birth portal. Maybe you want to retreat more and become more the mentor, the educator for other birth workers or for women in your community. And online, this is also a perfect time to be online, to have this hybrid birth business, maybe fully step into the online space for a while. This is the beauty of thinking about having a hybrid birth business for all the seasons of your life. And as you even step into Crone, as you step into your 70s, your 80s, if you're living your passion and your purpose, that most of us birth workers, especially if you're listening to this podcast, this is your passion and purpose. It's a life purpose. It fills you up. It is your calling. No one wants to stop their calling. You only want to retire, quote unquote, if you don't love what you do. But what you do and how that expresses itself definitely will change in the seasons of your life. And so when you hit that 70 plus years, being in the birth portal might definitely not be something that you have the energy and capacity for. I mean, I know women in their 70s who are home birth midwives who still do it. So I'm not saying you can't, but I'm saying maybe you don't want to. It's up to you. As you're nearing 80 and so on, then you can still do your life's calling. You can still teach both in real life and online if you want to. Be the mentor, be the wise woman. So, this is the way that you can approach being a feminine being, having a birth business, is to understand yourself as a cyclic being, as a receptive, magnetic being that actually flows in the feminine yin, in the watery yin way of being woman, as you listen every day to how you're feeling, as you form your month and your year from that understanding, you will thrive as a birth worker long term. You will thrive in your birth business if you understand how to implement your cyclic being. And, which I really recommend, a hybrid model of online and in real life business so that you can step away if you need to during your maternity leave or as you are, or as a maiden, if life happens or you get sick or someone in your family needs you, even if you're a maiden, it doesn't mean that you're going to want to only work in the birth portal. You might feel at times that you want to step away too, or you have to because life happens. This is where this online part of your business can step in for you. And this is why I teach my sacred birth workers this and my business student this from the get-go. As soon as you become a birth worker, start having an online presence and build that part too, so that you're not standing and falling with being only in the birth portal, so that you're ready for your maternity leave, you're ready for your Maga years, you're ready for life happening, you're ready for a long vacation, you're ready to be a crone, right? This is the beauty of being self-employed. You decide, you vision your life, you vision your business. Ah, absolutely love it. I don't only plan my month, I also plan my week and my year. Let me tell you about it. So my week kind of looks like this. My Mondays, I want to be soft. My Mondays, I want to be either doing a bit of admin if I want to, or a bit of planning and visioning for the week, or just doing little things like that. And I always want to look at my blog on the Monday and say, what do I want to write and share with the world on my blog? And do a bit of that planning ahead. That's my Mondays. Soft, gentle, putting on the fire, sitting on my couch here in my living room and just weaving and dreaming and being soft and planning my week. And in the afternoons, I might open up to be a guest on others' podcasts or channels or being interviewed, and a bit of that can happen too, but nothing of mine. So no clients or stuff like that, just for me that day. That's a me day. And then Tuesdays are my natural birth podcast days where I interview for the Natural Birth Podcast. I interview women from around the world sharing their natural and empowering birth stories. And so that's a full day of that. And it can also, if I have a lot of energy, if I am in my spring, summer, that might also mean that I do an episode for this podcast. Otherwise, I have my Wednesday mornings dedicated for that because I usually flow better in the mornings. It's important to understand when's your potent time, right? And planning accordingly, not pushing yourself when you don't feel it. Leave it to be, and just figure out who you are. So for me, I'm a morning person. I wake up early. That's when I have the energy for the day where I do so much more and I get things done and it's fun and it's flowy. I'm flowing. I'm creative. And then the afternoon hits and I'm a bit slower. And by 3, I really tap out. And sometimes I'll work till 5, but sometimes I'll stop at 3. It depends on the day, the energy. Sometimes I don't work at all in the afternoon, and sometimes I work till late at night, especially if I'm ovulating. I might just be fully in the creative mode and I allow myself to be that. I plan for that to be a possibility. So then also Wednesday afternoons, I usually take my mentorship clients or other coaching clients. The same on the Thursday. That is a time where I take clients, my mentorships clients and other clients that I have around the world. And that's also when I have my mentorship students live. So master classes and Q&As and birth debriefs and case studies for my students. And then my Friday, well, the Friday, I want to spend the morning writing my email to my email list, my community, check in, share what's going on, share a bit of me, share a bit what's happening in my life. And yeah, then some other things can be on the Friday, like maybe there could be a meeting, or maybe there can be an interview for this podcast, for example, or I might just end the day early. I might just have half a day on a Friday. Friday is also like kind of this soft, yummy day where I'm not very rigid. That's kind of how I flow throughout my week, which I love. And then my year, again, I obviously look at my cycles for the months, but I also look at the full year and go like, when do I want to take time off? And I want to take big chunks off. I want to take all of August off. I want to do less during the whole of September and half of January. And I want to be able to travel if I want to, both in November and in February for the whole month or just a couple of weeks, somewhere in between. That's how I want to flow in my life. That's how I want to enrich my life. And so I plan my business accordingly. And I really invite you to open up your mind to this, to actually vision as far ahead as a year, maybe even longer, maybe 1.5 years of your business, of your vision, of your dreams. When I started doing this, there was such a shift in my business. That was really when my business went, um, vertical. It really did. I doubled my income that year when I started doing this very simple thing. I'd already flowed with my feminine cycle, but I didn't really put in the masculine container of structures throughout my week, my month, and my year, and that long-term planning of offers, of taking time off, of when I was going to run my programs and so on. And I really invite you to rest in your feminine, to vision from that inner vision, to follow that, to dare to do it the feminine way. You're not going to fail, you're going to thrive. You're going to have so much more energy and capacity. What you do will be so much more amplified, and things will flow and grow when you don't come from a depleted, masculine, hustle and grind attitude. Because let's face it, all of the business courses that I've ever done, whether they have been held by women or men, have been very masculine focused. Our world is teaching us how to show up as men. That's what we've been taught, haven't we? And that's how our society is built for men, really. That constant, they're the sun, they're constant. We're like the moon, we're waxing and waning all the time. Please let this be an inspiration for you to start approaching living and business from this feminine way and just watch the magic unfold. I go into this more in detail and I give more tools and strategies and tips for this. And I give you my structure, I give you my foundation, how I approach business in my business course for birth workers. And I'd love to invite you to join us. We start on the 29th of September. I would love to invite you into the sisterhood. where we hold each other as we all rise together. In a month we're weaving, vibrating, pulsating as we step into the feminine leaders that we were born to be in our lives. It's going to look different for everyone, what that means to them. It might be just in their family, it might be in their community, it might be in the world on an online stage. We're all going to have different paths in life. Women who are drawn to this mentorship are midwives, doulas, sacred birth workers, radical birth keepers, all of the women who want to live their passion and share with the world their hearts, their services, and they want to have my help in doing so in a way that feels aligned, heart-centered, the feminine way. And they want to build a thriving, long-term, sustainable birth business, both in real life and online. And if you feel that you want this too, then come and join us. This business course is really like no other because we have this feminine lens throughout it all. And I want to make business sacred and accessible for all. So I make it very simple. It's not rocket science, I promise. But with these simple tools and techniques, I know that so much can change within your birth business. If you implement these things, I know that you will earn more money. And if that's something you want, then come on. You have nothing to lose and all to gain. I hope that I see you in the business course for birth workers starting just in a few days. I'll see you there. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. If you love this podcast, then please share the love on your podcast app by leaving a comment or pop over to our Instagram at Sacred Birth International. I'd love to connect there. If you'd like to know more about the Sacred Birth Worker Mentorship or the business course for birth workers, then head on over to sacredbirthinternational.com to learn more. Thank you for listening.